On News Central, I am Marina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. And we're starting from the courts for you this afternoon because quite a number of developments happening across the spectrum of different courts in the country. And we're starting this afternoon from the Accra High Court, where the High Court, this afternoon from the High Court, where the former NPA CEO Mustafa Hamid and some 9 others are standing trial. We know that the former CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, he has pleaded not guilty to multiple charges of extortion and money laundering leveled against him by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The Special Prosecutor, Kisie Jabi, today told an Accra High Court the accused person obtained sums in excess of 280 million cedis through a scheme targeting oil marketing companies and bulk oil transporters. Joseph Akable is my colleague. He is in the court for us this afternoon, the Law Court Complex to be specific. But just before we touch base with Joseph, we just want to run you through again what the details are in relation to this particular matter, as we had the Office of the Special Prosecutor reveal details of for us a short while ago. And so that's the first of the many of the 10 accused persons. The former CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Mustafa Hamid, there are 3 counts he's expected to be answering to. The first is conspiracy to commit extortion. The second, extortion by public officer, and then using public office for profit. Also, we know of Jacob Kwamina Emua is a coordinator of the UPPF fund, is the MD of PropNest, Kel Logistics, Kins Energy. The number of counts or the total charges slapped on him, 18, but let's try and walk you through what some of these are. Conspiracy to commit extortion, extortion using office for profit, money laundering, and then conspiracy to launder money. Then there is Wendy Newman, who's a staff of the audit department of the National Petroleum Authority as well. She seen 10 charges in total slapped against her, but they include conspiracy to commit extortion. There's extortion proper, using office for profit, conspiracy as well to launder money. And then there is Albert Ankran, 2 charges against him. He's a director of PropNest Limited. Counts include conspiracy to launder money via PropNest. A lot more individuals. Isaac Mensah, he's also a director at PropNest and Kins Energy. 3 charges slapped against him. The counts 8 and 10 are conspiracy to launder money via PropNest, and then counts 24 is via Kins Energy, and that's conspiracy to launder money in that respect. Then there's Bright Bediako Mensah as well. He's a CEO of PropNest, Kel Logistics, and Kins Energy. The companies affiliated to him in all of these schemes that the OSP has carefully put before the court. 6 total charges slapped against him, and they include conspiracy to launder money via PropNest, Kel Logistics, and then Kins Energy as well. There's Kwekwa Boaji Akwa, 5 charges, conspiracy to launder money, all of that making the 5. Then the entities, PropNest Limited, 2 charges, conspiracy to launder money. Then there's Kel Logistics as well, 4 charges against them. And then that they are Kins Energy, the last of the entities, the corporate entity, 1 charge, conspiracy to launder money. Let's take you to the Law Court Complex right now. Joseph Akable is stationed there for us. He's joined us. Joseph, we understand lawyers for the accused persons commented on the charges leveled against their clients when they had the opportunity to address the court. What did they say exactly?
Yes, Marina. Specifically, you commented on the facts that have been put out by the Office of
out by the Office of Special Prosecutor. The OSP himself, the Special Prosecutor Kisei Jabin, was present in court, and the point that lawyers, particularly for the former NPA were made to the effect that there were comments which they believe the OSP had made while presenting the facts to the court, and so he had made a statement that the evidence will establish beyond reasonable doubt, and they said that there's nowhere in the facts that have been put before the court that expression is used, and so they don't know why he's embellishing it. That is the word that Paul Abariga, lawyer for the former NPA made reference to. He said that he's embellishing the facts that has been put before the court, and that as far as they are concerned, the accused persons have not committed a set of offences that have been filed against them by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The court then allowed Kisei Jabin, the Special Prosecutor, to respond to that concern, and Kisei Jabin made a point that, well, he's simply stating what they will be proving at trial, because he says that all what they have put before the court today are matters that they would have to lead evidence to establish. And so if he says the evidence will establish, he's simply telling the court what he intends to do by way of the evidence that will put before the court. And so that was it by way of the comments that they made on the accusations and the facts that have been put before this court. Marina.
We know that lawyers for Mustafa Hamid and the 9 others pushed for bail. It was subsequently granted. What are the terms, and do we know if the special prosecutor resisted these attempts for bail?
In fact, even before the application for bail will be made, the court inquired from the special prosecutor whether they were opposed to bail, just to inform the thinking of the court and how it handles the arguments that will be advanced. Then Mr. Kisei Jabin informed the court that, well, his outfit is not opposed to bail at all. He indicated that the first and second accused person, that includes the former NPA CEO, had always been on OSP inquiry bail from the onset of the investigation. But he said that the former NPA CEO is a flight risk, and so he expected that the court should fix terms that are commensurate with the offense involved, and also the possibility that by being a flight risk, there ought to be conditions that ensures that he stays within the jurisdiction. Again, lawyers for the former NPA CEO were not happy with that comment at all, and they make the point that as far as they are concerned, no evidence has been placed to the court suggesting that he had attempted to flee in the course of the investigation or grounding the claim that he's a flight risk. And so they were at pains to understand why the special prosecutor would make the point that he's a flight risk. And so they made that point. That notwithstanding, the court said that, well, the conditions of the bill are as follows. Mustafa Hamid, a former NPA CEO, and the other 2 accused persons, making the first 3 accused persons, were granted bail in the sum of 2 million cedis, with 2 sureties to be justified. And so what it means is that they are supposed to find landed properties worth the amount of 2 million cedis and make it available to the court after it has been valued by the relevant state agencies that carry out that valuation. And that is how come we are still here at the law court complex, because that is where the execution of the bail documents is taking place. And Mustafa Abdul Hamid's legal team, they are working around the clock to get that sorted out. And so that is it by way of that bail conditions in relation to the 3 accused persons. For the other accused persons, the term is the same 2 million cedis, but they have the option of 3 sureties, which is to be justified. And so that is it by way of their terms. Again, all the accused persons, they are supposed to report to the Office of the Special Prosecutor once within a month, with the case adjourned to the 26th of August, where the court said that the hearing for that particular day will take place online. And so that is it by way of the arrangements that have taken place so far. And so we are still waiting here at the law court complex. We expect the legal team for the former NPA boss to be able to conclude the discussions relative to the bill. Then they will come out afterwards.
Right, Joseph, and we know that outside of this case, today appears to be a very busy day in court, a number of issues as well coming up for hearing. Have we got any updates thus far on some of these other matters, or as we speak, it just has to do with the Republic versus Mustafa Hamid? Because we know that there's a Sky Train as well, Professor Ameya Kumfi, then there's the Afoko case, then possibly the CJ's judicial review. The court is expected to make some pronouncement on the Attorney General's request to have that review thrown out of the court. Do we have any update on any of these other matters?
Yes, so first let's start with that issue concerning the SkyTrain, and we know that with that one the trial was supposed to commence today. That did not happen because of some of the documents that have been filed by the prosecutors had not been served on the various accused persons, and so the court adjourned the matter. I mean, that also drew some concerns from the judge, and the judge was making the point that they give the prosecutors leeway sometimes, and they expect them to be timeous in terms of the processes and ensure service, just to ensure that the trial is able to take off as is expected to. So what we can report as an update on the SkyTrain matter is that the trial is yet to take off. With respect to the CJ matter, the judicial review application, you know that she's seeking to halt the impeachment proceedings that is taking place at the 5-member committee. We know that the Office of Attorney General have filed an application asking the court to strike out that judicial review application, saying that it sins against the rules of court, particularly because the matter is pending in different forms at the Supreme Court. The update on that case is that the arguments took place. The court has also adjourned to later on in this month to deliver its ruling on that particular request. And the request that the court will be ruling on is whether or not the case that has been filed by the Chief Justice should be dismissed or not. And so that is it by way of updates with respect to the other matters, Mawena.
Thank you very much, Joseph. That's my colleague, Joseph Akable, at the Law Court Complex for us, where we're following not just the OSP's trial or the Republic versus Mustafa Hamid and some 9 others, but there are also quite a number of other cases of interest which he's been providing details of to us. Let's bring you some other matters right now, because Ghana's security agencies are on high alert following the discovery that thousands of rounds of military ammunition have gone missing. The Small Arms Commission says, although it is a difficult thing to do, steps are being taken to trace the consignment and prevent it from falling into wrong hands.
The ammunition, initially under the control of the Ghana Armed Forces, was transferred to the National Security Secretariat in 2024. But over a year later, the rounds remain unaccounted for. What was supposed to be a controlled transfer has now been described by the Defense Ministry as irregular and unexplained.
We have kept our nation safe and stable, notwithstanding the irregular transfer of thousands of rounds of military ammunition in 2024 from the Ghana Armed Forces to the National Security Outfit. Ammunitions which have since not been accounted for.
According to the Executive Secretary of the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, Adam Bona, the situation has forced security agencies to activate cross-agency collaboration to trace the ammunition amid growing fears of diversion or theft.
It could be theft, could be diversion, it could be all of the above. If you ask me, it could be all of the above. I mean, theft would mean diversion. Once you steal, ammunitions from a state, guarded, armory. The only reason why you want to steal them would be because you want to divert them into unscrupulous people's hands. And so we are working with all the other security agencies in ensuring these things. So we are helping in finding where these munitions would be.
He adds the development has set off alarm bells beyond Ghana's borders, as there's been a wave of concern from neighboring countries and partners across the continent.
I have received calls from the sub-regional colleagues who are also interested to know how can they help to trace some of these ammunitions if it has entered into their territory. And so it is our mandate as a commission to ensure that we fight together with our colleagues in the sub-region, on the continent, across the world.
The commission insists that tracing the lost rounds is difficult, but not impossible, and that efforts are ongoing to track down those responsible to recover the missing stock.
It can be pretty difficult to trace these firearms, the ammunitions. But the truth is that I want to believe that there should be information with regards to who was in charge of these armories where the ammunitions were kept and where they left, which vehicle moved them, and which place did they go to. Someone would have put in a requisition for the ammunitions to have left where they were kept. Someone would have, loaded them into the truck. Someone would have known how many ammunitions. It might be difficult, but it is possible to trace this ammunition.
Let's bring you some more stories because Interior Minister Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak is asking the security agencies to work hard in tracking down the killers of a local tribal chief in the Ashanti region. The late chief, who also served as the Kadi Divisional Chief in the Binduri district of the Upper East region, was gunned down on the night of Tuesday, the 22nd of July, near the Asawase F-Line Community Center. According to multiple reports, 2 men arrived at the scene on a motorbike at approximately 8:40 p.m., one of them said to be armed with an AK-47 rifle, opening fire on the chief before both assailants fled. Earlier this morning, MCE for Asokore Mampong, Ben Abdallah Al-Hassan, led members of the assembly to commiserate with the family of the deceased and assured them the perpetrators will be brought to book. The police have also issued a statement. Let's take you there right now where my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar is stationed and on standby. Ibrahim, provide details for us how the Asokore Mampong community is reacting to this news.
Shocking incident to them. They are in a mourning state. A lot of them are behind me. But Mauna, where you see the women are seated, that is.
Oh dear, does appear. We may have just lost Ibrahim briefly with respect to the connection. We will work on that, have him rejoin us and provide details. But it has to do with the gunning down of a tribal chief in the Asokore Mampong municipality and Asawase constituency to be specific. And there's been reactions from the Interior Minister. That's his constituency, as a matter of fact. The MCE for Asokore Mampong as well has been speaking and reacted to the development. And the police as well have issued a statement asking that they will hunt and track down the killers of the area. But let's listen to the MCE of the area speak to my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar Ben Abdallah.
This is very tragic, extremely tragic, and I extend my heartfelt condolences and that of the President of the Republic, as well as the Honorable Member of Parliament and all residents within the municipality, to the grieving family. I will continue to urge calm and ask that they allow the security to finish the investigations and be able to unravel the circumstances surrounding this barbaric act. And so I urge calm, and as Municipal Chief Executive, I'm also in communication with the security chiefs, and I'm getting the briefing, and by investigations are still ongoing, and we urge that they exercise some calm and restraint as we go about with the investigative processes, and surely justice shall prevail in the end.
Other traditional chiefs as well have been speaking to this matter. Let's hear from them as well.
Yeah, we are telling them to calm down. But the youth, you know the vibrancy they are. At times, if the proper thing is not done at the right time, a time may come we may not be able to control them. So that's why we are pleading to the police, Minister of Interior. They should fast track things so that justice will be administered at the right time to be able to calm down things. If not, then meaning we may not be able to control.
Ibrahim Abubakar is back with us, this time on the phones. Hopefully the connection to him is better. Ibrahim, you were seeking to paint a picture for us with a particular area where women were gathered. What were you trying to say? Ibrahim, are you with us?
Okay, Mauna, so like I said, security has been deep in the community because they fear of any form of reprisal, because this is a man who wields so much power among the youth. So he has a lot of influence when it comes to the youth. So, and that's how come they are boiling with rage. But then the community leaders are also intervening, speaking to them, asking them to remain calm and leave everything in the hands of the police to continue with the investigation. But whilst talking to them, they are also telling the police to expedite investigation, else they cannot contain the anger of the youth again. A while ago, the regional police commander too was here. He told them they are done with the autopsy, so now they are giving them the body for burial. But he is also asking the youth to remain calm because they are in charge, and they was assuring them that they will make sure that the perpetrators are brought to book. In fact, he's telling them they shouldn't take the law in their hands, but leave everything in the hands of the police to maintain law and order. So currently, they are here waiting for the body to be brought here and before it will be sent for burial. But we are told that because this is a man who also was a traditional leader in the Upper West within the Binduri area, his body will be sent there for burial.
Right then, Ibrahim, I'm sure we'll come back to you again for a bit more on this, but thank you. That's my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar providing details there for us. Let's return to the capital, where the Lands Minister, Emmanuel Amaboa, says government has been able to successfully recover all 9 forest reserves hitherto manned by armed guards. Speaking at the Government Accountability Series, the minister says government has elevated its efforts in the Galamsey fight.
One of the greatest challenges at the forestry subsector is deforestation and forest degradation, largely due to illegal mining, illegal logging, wildfires, and unsustainable agricultural practices. Within the forest reserves alone, over 5,500 hectares. And I think I keep repeating this, that is equivalent to 7,500 football fields that has been degraded. But I'm happy to announce that in collaboration with law enforcement agencies, the Forestry Commission has successfully repossessed all 9 red zone forest reserves previously occupied by armed gangs. At the beginning of my service as a minister, I informed the people of Ghana the crisis we face. But I'm happy to tell you today that today we have repossessed all these forests. It doesn't mean we are completely out of the woods, but what it means that the forestry guards are able to enter in and out, and when they need reinforcement, they are supported. Additionally, 279 trucks conveying illegal lumber were intercepted, fined, and the illegal wood confiscated and auctioned. As government strategy to promote legal timber trade, Ghana entered into the voluntary partnership agreement with the EU, aimed at ensuring only legal timber from sustainable managed forests are exported to the EU market. Subsequently, Ghana is expected to issue what we call the Forest Law Enforcement Governance and Trade License, FLET, to accompany all wood exports to the EU market.
Now, the minister has also been speaking to his directive to both Azuma Resources and EMP to find an agreement over the disputed ownership on the Black Volta Gold project.
Yes, I issued a directive on the July 10th and there were really good justification for the minister responsible for mining to do that. First, Ghana is a shareholder in that enterprise. We have 10% in that enterprise. Any delay in continuing the exploitation of that resources affects the people of Ghana directly in terms of revenue, taxes, and empowering the people in those areas. This particular lease has been given for over 5 years or so. And so first it was within the minister's right to make sure that we address the issue. But I'm happy to inform you that after that letter, these 2 companies have really made progress. In fact, I received a letter from Azuma Resources informing me that they've reached very conclusive agreements with EMP. And that should tell you that I think those in it, that letter really has impact.
That's the Lands Minister, Emmanuel Ama Kofi Boa. He will take us on to our very first break here on News Central. When we return, we'll begin a preview of that mid-year budget review expected to be delivered by the Finance Minister, Dr. Cassiel Atoforsen, tomorrow. Stay with us for what you have been telling us are your expectations ahead of tomorrow.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Tomorrow, that mid-year budget review presentation expected to be delivered by the finance minister. But there's a big question we're asking. Have you sat through the entire presentation of a budget before? Regardless of whatever your position on this is, the financial statement has a direct bearing and impact on your life one way or the other. As government readies presents the mid-year budget review, George Quayden explores the critical concerns of citizens ahead of the big financial day.
Sempa budget, Impuntuo budget, Ajenkwa budget, and Idasuo budget, and there exists a countless number of them. Born out of these are mid-year budget reviews that provide a comprehensive assessment of government's financial performance during the first half of the year and outlines any necessary adjustments to the annual budget.
One thing I like about NEMA is the fact that diversity abounds here. And with the mid-year budget review to be presented soon, as we've consent to them.
Baba Alhaji is a graduate of the University of who majored in business administration and finance option. Since completion in 2021, he's still home unemployed. It has never occurred to him to follow a budget presentation. After all, it is all about the expression of big grammar to him. He expects government to be deliberate in advancing the standard of living of the ordinary Ghanaian.
It's not about what levy we are scrapping out. Government needs to make money, and these levies and taxes are what government uses to raise money. So if you are taking a levy out, you definitely replace it with some another one. So what are you taking out? How does it affect us? What are you replacing with? How would it affect us? And how long would it kick in? That's another issue. How long will it kick in? You are taking away e-levy, which is just 1% of every transaction. So if I'm going to transact 1,000 cedis worth of mobile money transaction, it's going to attract 10 cedis. But now you are replacing with D-levy, which is a solid 1 cedi on every liter. So if I'm going to buy 100 liters, which means I'm going to pay 100 cedis, is that really necessary?
Baba may not be the only one in this, but let's get some expert advice. How important is it following budget presentations?
I'll make a confession. Even some of us so-called experts, we listen to the highlights and then we tune off. And at the end of the day, we go and get the printed copy. And then we analyze it and look at it so that we can make proper judgment of what is happening. So if Baba says he won't listen, hey, Baba, I can agree with you.
Elia deals in men's clothing and she still buys a consignment at the same price despite the appreciation of the cedi against other major trading currencies. She wants that trend reversed.
The last time, dollar is 17 cedis. It will come down, but we have some people the same price. So what are Ghanaians doing about this?
The concerns of World Baron amplifies the expectations of many Ghanaians.
You want to first we buy kenke 4-5 cedis. Today you want to buy kenke 4-5. You can't satisfy. All that thing we want things to be less. Food to eat must be less. Go in now somewhere in Europe or somewhere in American British. What the rich man can chop, the poor man can chop. But here in Africa, what the rich man can chop, the poor man can chop. We chop two and the rich man chop papaya.
For financial expert Joe Jackson, the ordinary Ghanaian should measure the expectations because Ghana is still broke.
Ghana is still broke. And it is important that all of us, citizens, party members, opposition, wherever you sit in this country, it is important that all of us realize that we are still broke and that we should temper our expectations where this budget is concerned.
It remains to be seen whether or not some policies put in place to cushion citizens would yield the expected impact. Until then, Ghanaians have to make do with what is available. George Quayden, TV3 News, Accra.
Excellent story there by my colleague George Quayden. Well, ahead of tomorrow's mid-year budget review presentation, former Deputy Finance Minister Mona Korte has asserted that the nation's focus regarding the exchange rate should be on achieving stability to facilitate planning and budgeting, as opposed to a drastic reduction. She spoke on agenda with Beatrice Edo.
The key thing here, Beatrice, is that with respect to currency and the value of our debts and other macroeconomic indicators, the exchange rate dropping steeply is not what exactly we need as a nation. What we need is a stabilized currency exchange rate that allows us to be able to plan forward, be able to budget, be it public sector or private sector. So we are hoping that at some point we'll see some stabilization of this exchange rate, whether it will be at 11 or 12, no one can tell, but hopefully we see a stabilization so we know what the exchange rate is and how we can work with it in the coming months and years. To do that, it means we must strengthen our currency, even though we may not see an appreciation, but it must remain strong and must remain stable. That is the key thing, stabilization of that currency rate, which will reflect in our economic situation. The key thing.
A number of you as well have been speaking to us ahead of tomorrow. Here's what you've been telling us.
If you look at the environment, everything is successful than the other years. I'll be accepted with him. I don't have any comment either it's good or bad. So let's hope for God. God can do everything.
Marvelous thing we are all thinking about. Essence say stabilization of the dollar. Say above form and cost of goods and prices of the market, so above form. And expectations is say so many issues are going around say dollar no microphone into force na dollar no brabonti. Now the same traders no between asanya dollar no area trading.
Well, our prayer is that for the good God to change the story of Africa, to move Africa forward, to give Africa a leader that will be operating from his wisdom, not to operate from mere wisdom, or neither from his own understanding.
Even without the media budget, some of us, we are okay already. So we were expecting that something better should come out from it, because we see the start and we know the end will be the best.
The budget should capture everybody. That was our expectation, that they come to the various industries, okay, to find out what is going on, what are your challenges, what are your problems. Then we will tell them that, oh, this is what we want.
And do well to be with us here on TV3. All on our social media handles, we're covering that mid-year budget review for you exclusively, and so do well to be with us here. But we'll move away from that. And the Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Kando, has stated that an amount of $60 million is expected to ensure equitable distribution of health facilities and equipment under the Ghana Medical Trust Fund. Speaking to journalists in Parliament after the approval of the bill backing the policy, he revealed that there are already some contributions made to the fund for a smooth takeoff. Parliament on Tuesday passed the Ghana Medical Trust Fund Bill 2025, popularly known as Mahama Cares, to establish a dedicated trust fund to support specialized medical care for chronic conditions such as cancer, stroke, kidney failure, and diabetes. The Minority Caucus, during a debate on the Health Committee's report on the bill, raised concerns about the allocation of 20% funds from the NHIS to finance the operations, arguing that it will cripple the NHIS.
Already referenced not less than 1.5 billion Ghana cedis in the National Health Insurance Formula 2025. And already Ghanaians have also donated or contributed to the fund. So we have some minimum amount of money to start off. We need not less than $59 to $60 million to help us build certain infrastructure to ensure that there's equitable distribution of equipment in the country to carry out these particular activities. I do not want to give specific dates, but what I can assure you is that we are going to expedite action on the implementation. About 43% of mortalities in this country is attributable to NCDs. And we all know the burden that these diseases impose on the citizens. And so with the inception of Ghana Medical Trust Fund, popularly known as Mahama Cares, It will bring some respite to people suffering these diseases. And so this is a savior. It's a history we've all made together. And we thank everybody, especially people who are financially contributing to the fund. The doors are not closed. Nothing is too small. Let us all help.
As the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Kando, will take us on to by the numbers. In Accra, getting around isn't just frustrating, it's expensive. Whether you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic or struggling to find a ride in a city where the roads can't keep up with demand, commuting has become a daily battle. On average, workers spend close to 40 hours a month just commuting. That's almost an entire work week lost on the road, and it doesn't stop there. All of this adds up. Ghana is losing an estimated $200 million every year to urban congestion. That's time and money gone, lost, productivity, wasted fuel, and delayed businesses. We hit the streets to hear from you on how bad that reality is.
Community 25, that's Dawinia, and it takes like 2 hours, 3 hours for me to get here because of the traffic issues. It's really disturbing though, but I have to come and stand at the station for like 30 minutes, 25 minutes before I get car. And I book like 2 cars to get here. Sometimes I can get straight car to this place.
I'm coming from Kaswa. Okay. It took me almost 2 hours. Almost 2 hours. So roughly, like say 2 hours. Some of the traffic lights are not working. So I think they need to check, refix them.
With Teshikau, let's say 30 minutes, yeah. If not traffic, 30 minutes. But if there is traffic, let's say 45 minutes to work. If they can reduce or get some traffic lights at my end, yeah, that's all.
Well, so you've been hearing it for yourself. Let's take you to the dashboard now, shall we? And seek to understand what the challenges are and what really data says with respect to how long we spend on our roads and how much it is costing us as a nation. And so let's start off on our overview, as we always do. 1.7 hours, that's a daily time lost per commuter. And this is just what? Across commuting analysis. I don't know why I want to say community, but commuting analysis. And per worker, which I've been telling you about, 40 hours is lost every month or on just a road, moving to and fro. And the peak speed on our roads when there's a heavy gridlock, and so you know the Tema motorway, right? That's about 19 kilometers. If you want to estimate it to say 20 kilometers. When the traffic is very intense on the roads, it would take you, say, an hour to just be able to cross the Tema motorway. And how much is all of this costing us? That's $200 million annually in terms of how much all of this is costing us. But let's go a bit more into this data as put together by the research desk here at TV3. We picked up data from the National Road Safety Authority, who will be getting a bit more from on these numbers, as well as the Parliamentary Research Desk. And the modes of transportation in the capital, you see the first batch. So either people are using their private vehicles, and then there's the commercial transport, what we know as Trotro, and then Okada has some minute percentage, 0.2% of persons hop onto an Okada. Mostly when you're running extremely late, you're left with no other option than to hop on one of these. And the economic impact, like we mentioned, $200 million. But when we go a bit more into the numbers, we've talked about how much it cost us in terms of the hours lost every month for a year, we're looking at what, 480 hours. That's a lot of productive hours that goes to waste. And if you want to work the math and extrapolate, there's a difficulty with even persons being able to move closer to their workplaces. And 70% of major roads in the capital are gridlocked. And so workers lose 30 to 35% of potential income due to traffic delays. And that's because a lot of our people are informal workers as well. And so the monthly impact, like we mentioned, 22 work days of time lost in traffic per every worker, and most main roads slow to about 20 kilometers per hour. Let's bring this situation to a bit more, take it to a bit more scrutiny and speak with Abraham Amaleba. He's the Acting Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, one of the agencies we picked up this data from. Mr. Amaleba, thank you very much for speaking to us. What's the national strategy to reduce commuting time for residents in Accra? Ms. Amaleba, you have to unmute for us so that we can hear you. I'm asking what the strategy is in dealing with this challenge that we've been speaking to.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So there's a national transport policy developed by the Ministry of Transport. And this policy is suggesting that we improve upon rail transport so that we can ease the concentration on road transport. Apart from that, there's also the idea to create satellite markets in our suburbs so that everybody doesn't troop into Makola from wherever he is or she is. And so we improve or we create satellite markets in the various suburbs. You don't have to leave Medina to come to Makola to buy your items. So this will also reduce the concentration or the congestion in our city centers.
Right. Another thing that we've realized from all of the data that we've been skimming through is that only 8% of our roads have a high capacity. Outside of this master plan you speak to, does it include a possible expansion of some of these roads so that they can absorb a bit more of the traffic?
Yes, so part of the national transport policy is also to create diversions and take the traffic away from the main streets. But these diversions will also bring you to the city center. So, for instance, there is this road that was created at the Palace Mall area, which is called Mahama route, which will take you to Labadi. So you don't need to go through 37 before you go to Labadi. So these are some of the strategies. Then also we suggested that we should improve on our traffic signalization. Most of the traffic lights don't work. And so you find congestion there, you find confusion in those areas. But if we improve on our signalization, that's the traffic signalization, then it will also help. Another one is to deal with on-street parking. On-street parking, you notice that when you go to the city center, a lot of vehicles park on the streets, narrowing the streets. So on-street parking should also be abolished. And so some of the strategies are what we have just outlined, and that will help to decongest the city centers.
Right, Ms. Abala, just briefly, if you could do this for me in 30 seconds, a concern about trotros, that they contribute greatly as well to the traffic situation we have on our route. Is there a plan, because we know we've tried public transport run by the government, a lot of them, many say, has not proven quite effective?
For the trotros, and they are the ones who are used or can be found parking by the roadside. Now, what the plan has is what the development plan has is that we need to improve or develop terminals and increase the capacity of those terminals to be able to take in more vehicles. You notice that some of our terminals cannot take in the trotros, and so the trotros will now park on the roads. But we need to develop terminals which can absorb all these trotros, and so when that is done, then you have the roads, cleared up for people to ply the roads.
Right then. Thank you very much. Abraham Amaleba is the acting boss of the National Road Safety Authority, speaking to us and bringing an end to By the Numbers.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle, from the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital,
from the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom,
reporting from Sunyani,
from the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds, the moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes.
Now, just before we run out of the studio, let's talk to you about Gordon Asidiba's latest documentary, Stolen in Innocence, where he reveals a disturbing pattern of sexual exploitation involving some teachers and female students in a school in Ghana's eastern region.
Akosua, a 15-year-old, juggles caring for her 6-month-old baby while heavily pregnant with her second child. She was 14 when she first became pregnant. Her mother, Ruth Ewa, who struggles to earn a living, is her only support. The father, an older man, denied responsibility.
Nobody was with me. The papa mango bar, I done Mignano. I'm the man, I'm the third baby. The name of better talk or the record doctor, baby, near Neophobia or record doctor or better than you. And me, the meeting points and your better. I'm the man, not a quarter behavior.
Catch that a lot later this evening at 9 p.m. The latest work by my colleague Gordon Asidiba. That will bring us to the end of today's edition of News Central. We're back again tomorrow with a bit more news. Remember to catch all the details of news and a bit more on 3news.com. Next on your television, the afternoon show with Anita and Gordon. Many thanks for watching.